Welcome back to the channel. Today, we dive into a unique twist on the world of My Hero Academia. What if villain Deku found love? Join me as we explore how this unexpected romance could change his dark path and the lives of those around him. Let's get started. The boy was dirty, burned, tired and covered in rubbish. He gave off an unpleasant smell. Izuku, I don't have anyone. I guess I deserve it. I'm alone because I'm trash. The boy became sad and looked down as he waited for time to pass, but after a few minutes of doing so, he began to hear footsteps coming from the alley. Izuku, they already found me. Too bad. What's the point of running if I don't have anyone? That's it. The green-haired boy stood still in the same place while he waited for the person to arrive where he was. The steps were getting heavier and heavier, it felt like they were just a few meters away. In a matter of seconds the steps stopped, the person was in front of him. The boy, without looking up, raised his arms and put them together while showing them to the person. Izuku, just do it. The person looked at the boy's arms with a sad expression. The arms were covered in burns. The boy looked very hurt and, above all, dirty. Izuku. The boy tensed up when he heard that person's voice. He swallowed deeply and for a moment he wondered how they got to this point. Flashback. Izuku Midoriya, a 14-year-old green-haired teenager who is different from the rest. In a world where 80% of people have a power called a quirk, he belongs to that 20% without a quirk, the reason for many of his problems. At school they bully him for not having a quirk and, on top of that, his main bully is his childhood friend, but today, Izuku has reached his limit, he has reached the limit of what he could bear. After a fateful day where his friend burned his notebook, his hero told him that he can't become a hero and now the last thing that happened to him, which was to go save his friend from a snot villain and everyone criticized him for it, he just wants to disappear and not know anything else. The green-haired boy was walking sadly on his way home, but by chance he saw an ice cream cart out of the corner of his eye, so after a terrible day, he just wanted to enjoy something, so he deviated from the path and went there, leaving behind a person with blonde hair who was waiting for him behind a post. Izuku, can I have some ice cream please? Ice cream man, of course, boy. What flavor? Izuku, pineapple. The man begins to prepare the ice cream and in a matter of seconds, he already had it ready. Ice cream man, it would be $1. I put the value in dollars so that everyone has an idea. The green-haired man starts to look through his things and realizes that he didn't have his wallet. His eyes widen and he starts to look through his things once more and realizes that he must have lost it when he went to save his childhood friend. The man starts to put on a serious face as time passes. Izuku, I'm sore. Here is the young man's dollar, collect it. The ice cream man accepts the money. The green-haired man turns to look at the man and notices that he was dressed in a suit while wearing a mask. Izuku, thank you. The green-haired boy was embarrassed after what happened, so he bowed to the one who paid for his ice cream. You're welcome boy, although now you owe me $1. Izuku, wait here and I'll bring you the money, my house is near. What do you think about instead of paying me you give me a minute of your time to talk about something? Izuku. The green-haired boy started to think about it, since he didn't know him at all, but he paid for his ice cream, so he was a little hesitant about whether to do it or not, but finally he decided. Izuku, okay. They both sat on a bench near the ice cream cart. Izuku, and what do you want to talk about? Why don't you tell us how you ran to save that boy? The green-haired boy lowered his gaze a little, seeing the sad ground. Izuku, I guess he's also coming to scold me. What are you talking about? Why would I scold you? The green-haired boy was confused by what the man said and raised his gaze to see him. You only did what you thought was right, didn't you? The protagonist was surprised. All day he had heard bad things about him and this was the first time that he didn't feel bad. His eyes became crystal clear. Izuku, yeah, I just did what I thought was right. The green-haired boy smiled for a moment. Izuku, although, I think I regret doing it. Why do you say that, boy? Izuku, it's just that. He's my childhood friend, our mothers are friends and all that, but he makes my life miserable, he bothers me at school, he makes fun of me so I risked my life in vain trying to save him so that everyone would criticize me. Everyone but you. Well, listening to you, I don't see that he is your friend, maybe you should think carefully about those around you. Izuku, maybe you're right. And why don't you defend yourself? You must not lack courage if you jump to save him from a villain. Izuku, I don't have a gift. That's no excuse. You tried to save him without a gift and now you can't defend yourself because you don't have a gift? What if you did have one? What would you do with that? The green-haired boy thought about the guy's question and began to look at the ground, assimilating what had happened with his life. Had he been doing the right thing? While the teenager was assimilating the question, the man in the mask was smiling at what was happening. Everything was going the way he wanted and he hadn't even tried. Izuku, I don't know. Come on, you know the answer. The protagonist had already thought enough and was clear about what he would do, but when he told him he would not know how he would take it. If I were you, I would take revenge on that friend of yours. The green-haired boy is surprised to hear the subject's comment. It was exactly what he had thought. Izuku, yeah, I probably did that. Teach him a lesson. Too bad he doesn't have a gift. The protagonist began to laugh lightly while eating his ice cream that had begun to melt. What if I told you there was a way to have one? Would you take it? The green-haired boy opened his eyes wide upon hearing what the man said. Izuku, of course. That way I could be a hero, they would stop bothering me, I would stop worrying my mother and also. And what also? Izuku, nothing, it's just that. You want to take revenge but that also contradicts your goal of being a hero, right? Izuku, am I wrong? Of course not. What's wrong with taking revenge on the one who made your life impossible? In fact, you should seriously think about being a hero. What did this society give you that you have to save them? Izuku, nothing, but I don't do it for that, I do it to be like all Mig. The protagonist remembered the moment when his hero told him that he could not be a hero, the person who is his idol had fallen, so he no longer knew what he wanted. To be like who? Izuku, never mind. It was really kind of silly. Wanting to be a hero, haha. The green-haired boy let out a light laugh as he lifted his legs onto the bench and hugged them. Izuku, I've only been treated badly. The green-haired boy began to think seriously. Izuku, I just think I would get revenge on Katsuki. And then live in peace. The mysterious man began to smile at the boy's response. Izuku, and what would be that method to have a gift? Throw myself off a building and hope I'm lucky that my next life has a gift? Of course not, what a stupid idea. Who would tell you that? The boy remained silent. What if I told you I could give you one? Izuku. The green-haired boy was looking seriously at the man, it didn't seem like he was lying. He noticed that something cold was touching his hand, so when he turned his gaze he realized it was the ice cream. Izuku, now that I think about it. What's your name? My name is All for One, but you, my dear friend, can call me Master. Izuku, All for One. Oh, that's right, and I'm the person who can grant you a gift so you can get revenge on that little friend of yours, but on one condition? Izuku, which one? Oh, let's destroy together this society that hurt you so much, don't you think? Let's show everyone who is that giftless child that was bullied so much at school. Let's destroy together that person who made your life impossible, what do you say? Do you want to change the society of heroes with me? The green-haired boy began to look at the man, he was thinking too much about it, he wanted to get revenge on Bakugo, but to get revenge on society and destroy it to that point? To change the society of heroes? The protagonist was thinking about it a lot until he realized that the person in front of him was the only person, besides his mother, who has not judged him. Izuku, okay. Master. The protagonist along with the man in the mask had entered a bar. At the bar there was another person in a suit along with another mask, but this one was dazzled by a kind of fog the whole time. Izuku, do I have to wear a suit? Oh, it wouldn't hurt. But no, it's not necessary. Izuku, I see. The green-haired boy began to look around the bar, it didn't seem like anything out of the ordinary. Izuku, and how are you going to give me a gift? You won't do anything weird like have me eat something or something like that. The protagonist stopped talking when the man put his hand on his hair. After a few seconds he removed his hand and continued walking towards the bar where the guy in the fog was. Izuku, what did you do? Did you mess up my hair? Oh, I already gave you your gift. Izuku, huh? Just like that? The man nodded as he tried to hide his irritation. He couldn't stand having to deal with teenagers, but he was going to become an important tool. At the end of it all he has in front of him someone who will cause regret to the symbol of peace. Now the only thing he had to do was buy him with a gift and gifts or simply transform him into a Nomu. Izuku, great. How do I use it? Oh, try to exert strength in your arms. The protagonist tried to calm down and do what the villain told him. In doing so, both forearms and hands were covered in fire. Izuku, great. Most of the green-haired boy's arms were covered in flames, but after 10 seconds they started to burn and he quickly turned off his gift. When he saw his forearms, he realized that he had burns. Afo, your body is not adapted to your gift yet, so you should take it easy these days. The man was smiling under the mask. He couldn't help it, but something that surprised him was that the boy was still happy despite the burns he had. Izuku, I have a gift. I finally have a gift. The man wanted to continue doing his thing, so he decided to move on to the next phase. Afo, let me introduce you to someone, kid. The man here is Kurogiri. Kurogiri, nice to meet you. Izuku, the pleasure is mine. Bowing, my name is Izuku Mito. Just Izuku. The green-haired boy didn't want to be called by his last name. He didn't want to be reminded of his mother when he was going to do the things he was going to do. Afo, Kurogiri will take care of you. If you have any questions, don't forget to ask him. From today on, we're all going to collaborate, so get along. Izuku, collaborate on what? Afo, in destroying the hero society, clearly. But for that we must destroy the symbol of peace. When we achieve all that, all of us will live the best life we can. One in which we are not discriminated against, don't you think? The green-haired boy nodded at Afo's comment. Afo, All Might will be working as a teacher at UA next year, so you will have until that time to adapt to your quirk. Izuku, understood. The green-haired boy is happy to hear that. All Might and Bakugo gathered in the same place. Afo, what makes you so happy? Izuku, it's just that Katsuki is going to that academy. The boy was smiling as the villain stared at the boy. Izuku, do you want me to infiltrate the UA? I could infiltrate if you want. Afo, no need, I already have a couple of contacts who will infiltrate. Well, that's all, Izuku, I hope we can work well in the future. Izuku, of course, master. The villain started to leave, but the boy stops him. Izuku, one thing before you go. Afo, what thing? Izuku, can I stay here? I don't think I have anywhere else to go back to. The green-haired boy didn't want to live in his house anymore. He couldn't stand to see his mother being involved in all this. Afo, sure, I have no problem. Kurogiri will be in charge of you. The man walks away, leaving the green-haired man and Kurogiri alone, so Izuku proceeds to sit down on the bar chairs. Before he could do anything, a man covered in hands walked in. The green-haired man got goosebumps when he saw the man walk in. Kurogiri, Tomura, this is Izuku, from today he is part of us. Tomura, aha. The man stands in front of the boy. Tomura, you. Izuku, yes. Tomura, you're in my place. The green-haired man gets up and changes seats. The man covered in hands sits down and asks his partner to give him water. The protagonist had momentarily shit himself when he saw the man face to face. He didn't know why, but he had a bad vibe. For now it didn't seem like such an unpleasant place, it seemed nice. And that's how the green-haired man started his life, living in that bar, trying to live with Kurogiri and Tomura. In a year he will have to master his gift and work in collaboration with them. Time skip, 6 months. The protagonist was standing outdoors near a lake. His arms were on fire as he kept his concentration on the body of water. After several minutes, he turned off his gift. Izuku, finally. Finally. The boy started to scream with excitement. Izuku, it didn't cost me anything. After several months of effort and sheer perseverance, the boy's body was able to adapt to his gift. His arms were covered in burned scars, but to him they were the symbol of a war won. Izuku, I finally had a breakthrough. The boy closed his eyes with his head held high, feeling the breeze on his face as he smiled in satisfaction. In all these months, he had tried day after day to adapt to his gift until he got it. Each day that passed was one more day that he tried. And while he wasn't training it, he was always thinking of various ways to use it, analyzing his gift and understanding it. The boy opened his eyes and approached a rock where there was a telephone, something old but a gift from the League of Villains. Izuku, now I have to take the next step. The boy smiled and sent a message to Kurogiri. Suddenly a portal opened and he passed through. In a moment, he was already in the bar, where only the guy with the portals was. Kurogiri, so? Any progress? The boy smiled at that question. Izuku, I'm not burning anymore. Kurogiri, it's about time. Izuku. The boy clicked his tongue and sat down at the bar. The man poured him a glass of water. Kurogiri, just kidding, good job. Izuku, thank you. The boy started looking at his glass of water while shaking the glass, thinking about something. Izuku, now that I can use my quirk, will you teach me how to fight? Kurogiri, I'm no good at that Izuku, you'll have to learn on your own. Izuku, I see. The boy began to think about how to learn to fight, but suddenly he began to feel how the villain began to stare at him. Izuku, what happened? Kurogiri, it's just that. I think there is a way for you to learn how to fight. Izuku, which one would it be? The villain opens a portal and leaves the bar to stand next to the boy. Kurogiri, let's go in. The villain enters, so the boy follows him. By the time they cross the portal, they were no longer in the bar but in an enclosed place with a large ring in the center. Several people were around it while watching two men fight with their gifts. Kurogiri, this is it, this is the ring, an area where you can use your gifts to fight against others. The boy was totally silent as he watched the brutal fights he saw. Izuku, and what are we doing here? The boy was praying that the man wouldn't say the words he was thinking. Kurogiri, where else? If you want to learn how to fight, what better than here? The boy began to sweat coldly as he watched his companion approach a guy sitting with a list. Kurogiri, I came to register this, boy pointing at Izuku. Man, under what name? Kurogiri started to look at Izuku, who was still processing what was happening. He had never fought before in his life, he had only served as a sandbag, so he was a little scared at the idea. Memories of Bakugo bothering him and calling him by that silly nickname for children began to come to his head. Izuku, Deku. The boy said it unintentionally, he didn't even realize it. Man, Deku, understood. As soon as the fight is over, you get in the ring and fight the winner, Entei? Suddenly a man flies out from the side of the guy, crashing into the wall. When he turned around to where the guy came from, he saw only a man standing in the ring. Man, you're going to fight that guy, now get in the ring, Deku. The green-haired boy didn't understand anything, he looked at Kurogiri, who only maintained a neutral expression. Izuku, I. Man, come up now kid, we're not having the best day. The green-haired boy slowly began to climb into the ring, where in front of him was a giant man. The boy was shaking as he looked at the giant man. Audience 1, who let the brats in? Audience 3, $100 bet the champion wins. Several people in the audience began to make negative comments about Izuku, putting more pressure on him. Suddenly a bell rang and Izuku saw the man standing in front of him with his fist raised. Izuku, oh no. A huge bang rang out, the green-haired man had been sent flying against the ropes of the ring. Blood began to fall from his face as he watched the giant man begin to approach him. Izuku, wait. The man tried to hit her again, but the boy quickly dodged the blow as he began to run to the other end of the ring. Izuku, everyone is crazy. The boy quickly lights his arms on fire as blood drips from his face. Izuku, I may lose today, but I will hurt you in such a way that you will also remember me because of the pain. The green-haired boy began to tear up a little as he watched the huge giant run towards him. Time skip, 6 months. It had been a year since Izuku had joined the League of Villains. He had trained hard so as not to disappoint All for One and he had succeeded. The villain was happy with the tool he was forging. Currently, the boy was in a ring staring at the man in front of him. Referee, begin. A bell rang throughout the place and the green-haired man lit his arms on fire and hit the air hard, thus launching a fireball. The rival dodged the attack, but saw how the protagonist propelled himself with his flames towards him and hit him with a strong right hook to the head. Izuku, gotcha. The protagonist was about to grab him but the opponent melted into mucus and slipped across the floor to the other end of the ring. The green-haired man understood what his gift was and quickly put his hands on the ring, burning it. Little by little the platform began to burn. Rival, you're crazy. You'll burn with your own fire too. Izuku, nah, I don't think so. The boy raises his arms and the flames of the ring begin to rise. Suddenly the flames began to go against the rival, who could not do anything and was roasted, falling to the ground unconscious. The entire audience applauded for the defeat of the young man. Referee, Deku has won. The champion remains undefeated after a month. A new record. Everyone cheered and screamed euphorically as the green-haired boy stepped out of the ring. Regarding his gift, he could be considered a genius for achieving what he did in just a year of having it. Several greeted him as he walked past until he reached Kurogiri who was in a corner waiting for him. Izuku, are we going? Kurogiri, no, I'm leaving, you walk away. Izuku, huh? Why? The man at the portals gives him a list. Kurogiri, I need you to go shopping. Izuku, okay. The boy took the grocery list and Kurogiri left through a portal. The boy sighed and left the place. He left through an alley and began to walk through the streets of the city. Izuku, now that I think about it. Classes at UA must have started a little while ago. The boy started to smile as he looked at the shopping list. Izuku, a little detour on the road won't hurt anyone. The boy began to walk to a supermarket that was far from the bar where they were staying while smiling. After an hour of traveling, Izuku Midoriya ended up in front of the most prestigious academy in Japan, watching as all the students began to return to their respective homes. Izuku, so this is how the UA is. He waited a few minutes until he found him. When his childhood friend saw him, he frowned and had a malicious expression. An expression that had anger all over his face. Bakugo, Deku? Deku? What the hell is a bastard without a gift doing here? A young man with blonde hair began to aggressively approach the green-haired teenager with every intention of intimidating him, but a hand grabbed the blonde young man's forearm so that he could not advance any further. Izuku, wow. I didn't think anyone would stop him. I guess it wasn't the reunion I was expecting. The green-haired boy began to look away as he watched more young people leave the academy while they tried to stop his friend. Izuku, how do we get to this? The green-haired boy began to look back at his friend who was being held by three young men of his same age. A young man with red hair, one with yellow hair and a girl with brown hair. Kirishima, bro. What are you doing? That's not how heroes behave. Kaminari, that's right Bakugo. Calm down. Bakugo, shut up you damn extras. Don't butt in. The blonde aggressively broke free from the redhead's grip, but now Kaminari and Kirishima grabbed him to make him stop. Uraka, Bakugo, what's happening to you? And what the hell is a deku? While the aspiring heroes stopped the teenager, the green-haired boy didn't flinch at all at the spectacle his childhood friend was putting on, and calmly began to approach the blonde. Izuku, hello again Kachan smiling friendly please let him go, we know each other. The green-haired boy said that to stop the show they had put on. The aspiring heroes were strangely confused. Their classmate didn't behave like that, he has a strong and explosive character, but he wasn't the kind of person who acts aggressively against others. The young men let go of Bakugo. Izuku, this is how he usually behaves so. The blonde, as quickly as possible after being released, stands face to face with the protagonist and grabs him by the sweatshirt. Bakugo, what the hell are you doing here? You don't belong here. The group that had accompanied the blonde were about to separate them, but the green-haired man made a gesture with his hands not to worry. Izuku, I missed you too, so long, huh? Almost a year. The blonde boy began to aggressively shake his childhood friend to get him to answer the question of why he was there. All of this was seen by the blonde boy's group of friends who couldn't believe his behavior. Bakugo, answer me. What are you doing here? Izuku, I was just passing by, I went shopping and I stopped by here. The protagonist was very calm but he was already getting tired of the grip that the sweatshirt was having on him. It was going to wrinkle, so he aggressively let go of it. Izuku, oh my god Bakugo, you have to learn to control yourself, you should go to anger management or something, heroes don't behave like that in front of others. Bakugo, shut up. You shouldn't come here. Don't you think you should go back to your damn house? Izuku, what are you talking about Bakugo? The one who shouldn't be here is you, in fact, you shouldn't even be part of this academy in the first place. Bakugo, what the fuck did you say you fucking freak? The blonde had been holding back the urge to hit his friend, but that comment he made completely upset him. The aspiring hero raised his hand pointing at the protagonist to use his quirk, but he didn't expect at all for the green-haired boy to grab his hand and quickly divert it towards his face. In a matter of seconds the explosion had gone off in the blonde's face. Bakugo's companions could no longer stop doing anything and began to separate them. Uraka and Denki held Bakugo to stop him, while Kirishima stood between the protagonist and his friend so they wouldn't attack each other again. Bakugo, damn you quirkless. Kirishima, it's not manly to attack someone by surprise, Bakugo. And it's even less heroic to attack another person. The whole spectacle was being watched by the people passing by outside the academy, both civilians and students. Among those people was a curious blue-haired girl who was trying to figure out what was going on until she heard the explosion and started to approach. Hella Celeste, what do you think you're doing? You're aspiring heroes. You should know that fighting outside the training grounds is prohibited. The teenagers turned to see the young woman who had just arrived, and by her appearance they knew that she was part of the academy and of a higher grade than them. The aspiring heroes did not know what to say because it was their first time talking to a senpai of the academy and they did not have a very good impression, but before any of them spoke, the protagonist stepped forward. Izuku, calm down, we weren't fighting, we were just talking. Hella Celeste, do your conversations contain explosions? Izuku, sometimes, it depends on the day of the week. The protagonist tried to make a joke to lighten the mood, but when he saw that the young woman's expression remained serious and somewhat annoyed, he thought that his comment would have made her angrier, but she only let out a sigh and relaxed a little. Hella Celeste, could you explain to me why two students from different hero academies are talking like that? The protagonist was a little taken aback by the young woman's comment. Izuku, I'm not a student, I was just passing by to buy some. The girl got angry again, but this time her anger was against the group of aspiring heroes. Hella Celeste, why would a would-be hero attack a civilian? Bakugo, he's not a civilian, he's just a fucking nobody. The blue-haired girl was really upset now, she couldn't believe that someone who wants to be a hero would treat a person like that. Hella Celeste, this is amazing. An attempted hero attacking people. How ironic. How incredible. The blue-haired girl was really angry and it was becoming more and more noticeable, her voice was getting louder and louder. Hella Celeste, heroes defend people, not attack them. What's going on in your head? Bakugo. The young man with blonde hair remained silent, he had lost control when he saw the protagonist, whom he had not seen in a year. On the other hand, our green-haired boy tried to hide his happiness, the atmosphere that had been generated pleased him, seeing Bakugo in that position fascinated him. He is being left as the victim, while Bakugo is as the aggressor, and the best of all is that he did nothing for the situation to turn out this way. The green-haired boy, seeing that the blue-haired girl was upset with the blonde boy and his classmates did not know how to react, decided to follow a role that would help him later. Izuku, please, miss, calm down, everything is fine, no one is hurt and that is what matters most. Hella Celeste, you're right, that's what matters. But a hero attacking civilians is unforgivable. Izuku, and he's right, it's unforgivable for a hero to attack a civilian, that should be totally punished. The boy tried to hold back his desire to smile. Izuku, but I know this student and I know that he is not like that, he does not behave like that. He just had to have had a bad day, right, Kachan? Bakugo's teammates were confused, a moment ago he said that was how his teammate behaved but now he was saying the opposite, was he covering for him? The aspiring heroes weren't understanding anything. Bakugo was completely silent, he just looked at the ground and then after a couple of seconds he looked forward. Bakugo, yeah, I just had a bad day. Sorry for taking it out on your deck. Izuku. I didn't have to act like that, much less with my friend. The green-haired boy couldn't help but smile when he heard his friend say that. Seeing his friend like that made him really happy. It was the first time in years that he had called him Izuku and he knew exactly why, the reason was to save his own skin. The blue-haired girl looked at the green-haired boy who was smiling. The young woman looked at that smile which made her feel strange. She didn't know the reason why he was smiling in this situation. The blue-haired girl just sighed and asked the aspiring heroes to leave so she could be alone with the main character. Hella Celeste, are you okay? Are you sure you're okay with this? Izuku, yes, totally miss. The future heroine felt a bit uncomfortable when the green-haired boy called her miss when the difference between them doesn't seem to be that much, and they were both teenagers. Hella Celeste / Hato, nay higher Hato, that's my name. The blue-haired girl, now identified as Hato, extended her hand to the protagonist to greet him, who responded. Izuku, nice to meet you, Hato. My name is Izuku Midoriya, but you can call me Izuku. Nay higher, nice to meet you Izuku, in that case you can also call me by my name. The boy didn't pay much attention to the name, he had no intention of ever seeing the girl again in his life. Just like the girl, the name of the hero that she has is her name. Izuku, okay, now if you give me permission, I have to go shopping. The boy turns around to go to the supermarket. Nay higher, wait a minute. Izuku, yes, tell me. Nay higher, can I accompany you? The protagonist was a little confused, why would he ask that of someone he just met? The blue-haired girl felt a certain mystery coming from the green-haired boy, so she wanted to find out his origin. She also felt a little sorry to see how the boy was bullied. Izuku, I guess, I have no problems. Are you going to buy too? Nay higher, sure. The girl smiled, so they both set off for the nearest supermarket. On the way to the supermarket, Nahir couldn't help but think about why the green-haired boy conveyed such mystery to her and why he smiled in that situation. Nahir, can I ask you a question? Izuku, sure, feel free to ask any questions you feel. Nahir, where do you know that boy, that Kachan? The green-haired boy couldn't help but laugh when he heard that nickname. Izuku, Kachan is a nickname I gave him years ago. His real name is Katsuki Bakugo and we've known each other since kindergarten. Our moms are friends, so naturally we also became friends when we were little. Nahir, well, for childhood friends, they don't treat each other like a glove. Izuku, as I told you before, he must have had a bad day, plus we haven't seen each other for a year. They had both arrived at the supermarket, so they went in to do the shopping. The green-haired boy took a basket and began to do the basic shopping for the month and some packaged food that was not on the shopping list. Nahir, I didn't know you did the shopping for your family. Izuku, I don't do that, I live alone. I haven't lived with my family for months now. The movie star was surprised by what the main character said. At first glance, he looked like he was 15 or 16 years old, and it was not normal for someone to live alone at that age. Nahir, you live alone? What happened to your family? Izuku, nothing, I just left home and decided to become independent. The truth is that I didn't feel very comfortable in that house with my family. The girl from the movie was surprised by what was said. She instantly thought that it must be hard for the main character to tell this. Nahir, sorry Izuku, I shouldn't have asked you about this. The blue-haired girl leaned towards the green-haired boy while apologizing to him. The blue-haired girl felt a little bad because she thought that it was her fault that the green-haired boy remembered that event. The protagonist just looked at the blue-haired girl and put his hand on her shoulder. Izuku, you have nothing to apologize for. Nahir, I don't mind talking about this. The green-haired boy showed him a smile so he could see that it didn't affect him and that there was nothing to apologize for. Nahir, are you really okay? Izuku, that's right, don't give it too much importance. The blue-haired girl tried to change the subject so that the green-haired boy wouldn't feel uncomfortable, so she asked a topic that everyone likes. Nahir, Izuku, what is your gift? That question is something that everyone in that world likes because everyone is excited to talk about their gift, or maybe not everyone. To that group of people who do not have a gift, it is one of the worst questions that can be asked. Izuku, I don't have a gift. Nahir. The blue-haired girl bowed again and apologized. She was totally sorry for the question she asked him. Nahir, Izuku, I'm really sorry, I had no idea, I didn't mean to, I was just curious about you. I'm a curious person and sometimes I can't control myself, please forgive me. The girl was totally embarrassed. She had no intention of making the boy feel uncomfortable or sad, she just wanted to know the reason why the green-haired boy generated mystery in her. She had no intention of hurting the green-haired boy with her questions. The blue-haired girl suddenly felt both of the green-haired boy's hands on her shoulders to stop her from leaning. Izuku, you really don't have to worry and there's nothing wrong with your curiosity, it's normal to be curious, there's no need to feel bad about it. You may not know it, but being curious may be one of your charms. The blue-haired girl looked up and met the young man's eyes. The protagonist had lost himself in the girl's eyes, those sweet eyes that the blue-haired girl had caught him, bright blue eyes. Without realizing it, the green-haired boy began to caress the girl's cheek, but when he realized it he quickly separated from Nahir with a slight blush. Izuku, sorry, I think I invaded your personal space. Nahir, no. Nothing happens. The girl also had a small blush on her cheeks. The protagonist quickly takes what he needed to buy and proceeds to go to the checkout to pay for it. The girl followed him silently, she couldn't get that moment out of her head, plus it was a person she met that same day. The boy finished paying and they both left the supermarket. Both had already calmed down, so the green-haired boy took out a chocolate from his purchases and gave it to the future heroine. Izuku, here, for the trouble of accompanying me. Besides, I don't buy anything in the end. Nahir, you didn't have to do it, I was the one who asked you to accompany me. Izuku, but I still want to give it to you, please accept it. The blue-haired girl accepted the green-haired boy's gift. Nahir, thank you. Izuku, well Nahir, I have to go back to my house before nightfall, I hope to see you again someday. Nahir, wait, before you go, give me your phone. The blue-haired girl extends her hand, but the green-haired boy looks at the blue-haired girl strangely. Nahir, let's go. The green-haired man gives in and hands his cell phone to the teenager. She writes down his number and then calls herself. The girl gave him her number in case he needs help, after all the boy is living completely alone. Nahir, there's my number, Call me for anything if you need help. Not many people have my number, so feel lucky to have the number of the future top heroine. The blue-haired girl returns the phone to the protagonist, who upon hearing the latest from the teenager was intrigued and a little excited since she could have won the lottery by finding a diamond in the rough. Perhaps she finally found something with which she can feel useful to help her teacher. Izuku, future top heroine? Then you must be really strong. How strong are you? The blue-haired girl started to smile and started to leave. Nay higher, if you must know, we're going to have to get together again. Bye Izuku. The movie star started to leave very happy, since it seems that she discovered one of the protagonist's interests. Izuku, goodbye Nay higher. Nay higher, call me in case that Kachan bothers you again. Izuku, okay, I'll keep that in mind. The green-haired boy started to go home while looking at his new friend's contact number. Izuku, it seems that you will be very useful to me Nay higher Hato, very useful, but... The boy crouched on the ground for a moment. Izuku, I'm not used to talking to girls. The boy begins to breathe while crouching on the ground, until he regains his composure and stands up from the ground. Izuku, I hope I didn't do anything wrong. The green-haired boy began to smile. He added a new variable to his plan that can help her, and that is Nay higher. All that is missing is for her to fully trust him, but it will be difficult since they barely know each other. The green-haired boy had returned from shopping. As soon as he entered, he noticed that Tomura and Kurogiri were gathered together while talking to the teacher on television. Izuku, I'm back. What are you doing? Afo, we are starting with the preparations of our plan. We are going to attack a UA facility. Izuku, so fast? Afo, of course, it's the best time. The man started to smile at the screen. Izuku, great. How can I help? Afo, you are not going to participate. Izuku, what? Why? Afo, that day will be Tomura's chance to shine. He needs to tell the world what the League of Villains is capable of. Your chance will come. Izuku, oh yeah. Sure. I brought you dinner. The green-haired boy spoke a little discouraged to Tomura and Kurogiri while he put the bags on the bar counter. Kurogiri thanked them while Tomura looked at him in silence. The protagonist wanted to be useful to his master. Luckily for him, he had found the way. Izuku, master. Afo, tell me. Izuku, while I was shopping, I met a student from UA, her name is Nay higher Hato. I think she would be useful to get information about the gifts. Afo, and what good does that do for me? Izuku, it would serve for you to steal the gifts that would be useful. The UA is the best academy, recognized for having trained top heroes, so it would be good to steal the gifts now that they have not yet grown enough. The teacher began to smile at the young man's idea. Afo, and you think you are capable of obtaining that information? Izuku, of course. Afo, then take care of that. The green-haired boy nodded as he went straight to his room. He texted the blue-haired girl with the idea of getting together tomorrow. They both started talking about it via text messages and decided to meet up tomorrow at the fair that was set up on the beach, a place that the girl chose since she had wanted to go there for a while. Izuku, I need to earn a place in the league. I don't want to fail the master. The boy looks at the conversation he had with the girl on the phone. Izuku, this has to be perfect. I'm tired of being a messenger. It's time to be a geek again. The next day, Izuku went to the fair early. Since he didn't want to be late, this was important to him, so he was going to get that information no matter what. The boy sat on a bench while using his cell phone waiting for the girl, and time went by. Izuku, why does it take so long? The protagonist whispered the comment softly, and when he looked around he noticed that the blue-haired girl was sitting next to him. The girl looked at him while smiling. Nay higher, hello. Izuku, how long have you been there? Surprised. Nay higher, a few minutes ago. I wanted to see how long it would take you to realize it, but I didn't think it would be that long. The green-haired boy was a little embarrassed. He was so lost in his cell phone that he didn't notice when he reached the girl. Izuku, I'm sorry. Nay higher, it's okay, shall we start? Smiling. The girl gets up from the bench excitedly. Izuku, of course, where do we start? The boy gets up and starts walking with the girl through the fair. Nay higher, well, let's go to that one. The girl quickened her pace towards a stall. She looked quite excited. The green-haired boy followed her to the stall. It was the typical game of throwing balls at the prize you wanted. Izuku, do you want to start with this one? The girl began to nod energetically. Apparently she must have fallen in love with a prize. The blue-haired girl was going to start, so she bought 3 attempts. She began to play and failed the first 2 trying to knock down the stuffed panda. Izuku, come on Nehire, you can do it. Nehire, of course I can. I'm strong. Izuku, oh yeah. How strong? The girl makes her 3rd attempt and hits the target, but the prize does not fall down. Nehire, well. She was strong. Depressed. The protagonist couldn't help but laugh. Izuku, don't worry, I'll get that prize for you. The boy bought 3 attempts, so the man gave him 3 balls. Nehire, it's not that easy. Izuku, you calm down, I'm nervous. The boy took the first shot, but it wasn't even close. Izuku. He launched his 2nd attempt, but this time it was worse than the previous one. Izuku, it was to make you trust each other, I'm just warming up. The girl started laughing, making the green-haired boy feel a little embarrassed. He was very bad at the game. Nehire, oh, you're worse off than me, laughing lightly. Izuku, 3rd time's a charm. The protagonist began to concentrate as he took in the objective. He began to relate the game to his fireball throwing training, so he tried to think that the ball was one of his fireballs. He threw it with all his might and hit the stuffed animal. The girl got excited. Nehire, you hit it. You hit it. The stall owner, a little annoyed, gave the prize to the boy. He gave it to the girl. The blue-haired girl was happy and accepted it with pleasure. They began to walk through the fair while the girl hugged the panda stuffed animal. Nehire, it's very nice. Thank you. The girl was excited about the prize the green-haired boy had won for her. Nehire, but you know I was holding back. Izuku, oh yeah? It wasn't noticeable. The girl puffed out her cheeks at the boy's comment. Nehire, well, you should know that I am very strong, I am one of the best in my class. Izuku, how strong is that? Nehire, I'm in the top 3 of the UA. The green-haired boy stopped dead in his tracks as he was shocked. He didn't know the girl was so strong, being in the top 3 of the UA was the closest thing to being a next top 1. Izuku, what? That's amazing. You must have an amazing gift then. Nehire, my gift allows me to manipulate and generate shock waves from my vitality. Izuku, how impressive. You could become a great heroine with that gift. The protagonist was excited and the girl noticed it. With this, the blue-haired girl confirmed her assumption from last time, the boy was fascinated by gifts. Nehire, well yes, I'm at Ryuko's agency. Izuku, the Ryukyu Dragon Heroine Agency? How impressive. Nehire, right? And that's not all. You should see my companions. The protagonist had stars in his eyes at the blue-haired girl's comment, which he noticed. Nehire, do you want me to tell you? Izuku, yes, please. Quirks fascinate me. As they began to walk through the fair and went through food stalls, the girl began to talk about gifts and how strong the big 3 were, as well as her classmates. The girl immediately noticed the boy's enthusiasm for gifts and found it cute, so she couldn't help but not answer his question. Although the girl didn't quite understand something, and that's why the boy was writing it down in a notebook, until she noticed that the boy began to mutter rapidly as he wrote. Izuku, that Imajiki's quirk is strong, but he didn't place well at last year's sports festival. Animals? Eating? What would happen if he eats the great orca? Is that possible? His quirk is strong, he can defend himself, attack, immobilize, and can do. The boy had started mumbling rapidly as he brainstormed while writing in his notebook. He was brought out of his thoughts when he heard a small laugh from the girl. Izuku, I'm sorry. It's a habit I've had for a while. It's not every day that you hear about such impressive gifts and I think I got too excited. Nehire, calm down, you looked cute doing it, keep talking. At the girl's comment, the green-haired boy couldn't help but blush slightly. Even though he was acting to seem harmless and just a geek, he didn't expect that reaction from the girl. Nehire, you must really like gifts. Izuku, of course. We live in a society where there are heroes and almost everyone has gifts. I like to write about them in my notebooks. The boy smiled slightly. Nehire, can I see her? The boy nodded, so the girl started to look at the boy's notebook and noticed that he had several heroes with a drawing of him while he had notes about his gift and how he could improve certain things. When she looked at the notebook more, she noticed that they were also with their classmates and they all had the same notes, although they didn't have a drawing. Even she was there. Nehire, hey! Why don't you draw me too? I can pose if you want, joking. Izuku, okay, I can draw you now if you want, make the pose you want the drawing to be. Nehire, what? The girl was a little embarrassed because he said it in a joking tone. She started to strike a pose, and when she saw how the boy started to laugh, she stopped doing it. Izuku, I can't draw fast enough to do it right now. The boy was laughing lightly at the pose the girl had made while she had a slight blush on her cheeks. Nay higher, fool. Izuku, tell me more about your gift, I find it interesting. Nay higher, not anymore. The girl puffed out her cheeks as she picked up her pace. Izuku, oh come on, I'll buy you something to eat. The girl, upon hearing this, stops and looks at him excitedly. Nay higher, whatever I want? Izuku, yeah, I have no problem, Total Kurogiri is sponsoring this outing. The excited girl takes him by the wrist while dragging him to a food stand. On the way, the girl began to tell him more details about her gift, so the boy began to write down in his notebook how he could improve it, just as he told her. After a while, Nehire and Izuku were walking through the fair. The girl was carrying a large bucket of popcorn, while on her back she had the stuffed animal that the boy won her. Both young people were full of prizes from the place. The girl was wearing a penguin mask in her hair, while the boy was wearing a mouse mask. The teenagers had already been to almost all the stalls at the festival, and it was noticeable by what they were wearing. Nehire, I had a great time. Izuku, me too, I still can't believe you ate half of the popcorn. Nehire, what are you talking about? You ate too. The girl was a little embarrassed by the boy's comment. Izuku, you're right, smiling. The boy was happy. The girl had told him too much about the gifts of her class, although they also talked about other things and so on, but the objective had been achieved. Nehire, I didn't know you loved quirks so much. Izuku, yeah, I know, I look like a geek, don't I? Nehire, a little, but I find it cute. Izuku, what? With a slight blush. Nehire, yes, I find that side of you cute. The boy got a little nervous because of the girl's words. Izuku, don't say that. Embarrassed. The girl started laughing at the boy's reaction. Nehire, you turned red, smiling slightly. Izuku, look, we haven't gone to that stand, we're going there. The boy tried to change the subject. Nehire, okay, let's go. The girl was smiling as she followed the protagonist. They both arrived and realized that it was a stand for a game of throwing rings at bottles. The green-haired man paid to play, but before he threw, the girl spoke to him. Nehire, let's do something. Izuku, what thing? Nehire, a competition, whoever has the most points wins. Izuku, do I win anything? Nehire, if you beat me, I'll invite you to the UA Sports Festival. Izuku, but I can go even if you don't invite me. Nehire, yes, but I'm going to invite you to some amazing seats, where you can see everything in the front row. For the green-haired boy, that was good, since he began to think about it and would have the opportunity to collect more information from all the students at the UA. Izuku, alright, let's do this. How will we determine the points? Nehire, we define them, for example, the one that is further away is worth 4 points. The green-haired boy nodded and the two teenagers began to compete. Time passed and the green-haired boy had already returned to the bar. When he entered, he noticed that everyone was looking at him, since it was full of things he had won at the fair. Tomura, looks like you had fun. Izuku, yes, a little. And the teacher? The man points at the screen, so he approaches and Kurogiri turns on the screen. Afo, Izuku, how did it go? Izuku, okay, I got the information. Afo, excellent, give me a moment. Izuku, time for. Before the green-haired boy could think more, a gray mass came out of his mouth and began to absorb. After a few seconds, he was in front of his teacher. The green-haired boy began to cough a little, but tried to stop when he saw how his teacher had a hand on his shoulder to get to the point. Izuku, here it is. The green-haired boy took the notebook out of his pocket and handed it to the man. Afo, I see you had fun with that girl Nehire Hato. The man looked at how he was dressed as he began to open the notebook. He began to look through it and noticed that there were several gifts including heroes. He began to realize Izuku's analysis of gifts, since in the notebook he had several ways to improve the use of his gifts and how it was more efficient to use it. It showed the good and bad of the gifts, so the man was a little surprised with the notebook. Afo, did you do all this today? Izuku, just the third-year students, everyone else is from last year. The man started laughing as he held the notebook. The boy had a good understanding of the gifts, no wonder he handled the gifts so quickly. Afo, keep collecting information and bring it to me with these notes, waving the notebook. If you do a good job, I may reward you with a gift or two. Izuku, of course, master. One more thing, the girl invited me to the festival, there I could get the one from all the UA students. Oh, just do it and go, if you get it I will definitely give you a new gift. The man gave the notebook back to the green-haired man and he kept it. Izuku, of course, master. The green-haired man again vomited a gray cloud from his mouth and appeared again. Izuku, that feels weird. The boy, without saying anything else, goes back to his room and starts thinking about what he was going to do. He finally got himself a place in the League of Villains and not just a simple errand boy who spends his time shopping and training. It had been a few days since the green-haired boy had gotten the information and the attack on the UA had already happened. Although the attack had failed, the objective had been achieved. Tomura Shigaraki presented himself before the Hero Society. The green-haired boy didn't go, but that wasn't going to stop him from observing the academy to see how they were doing after the attack and nothing, it was still the same as always. What's more, the green-haired boy was watching how Bakugo had made a group of friends at the academy. Izuku, I should have gone. Shigaraki failed the mission. Uraka, go where? The green-haired boy quickly turned to his side and realized that the brunette from a few days ago was next to him. Izuku, do I know you? Uraka, no. My name is Ochako Uraka and I wanted to apologize to you Deku for the other day. Izuku, why do you call me Deku? Uraka, that's your name, right? Izuku, no, not even close. My name is Izuku Midoriya. That name was given to me by those who bullied me. Uraka, sorry. I didn't know that, Midoriya. The girl bows a little apologetically. Izuku, calm down, nothing is wrong, it's a thing of the past now. Uraka, I can't, let me treat you to some ice cream to make it up to you. Make it up to you for everything. Izuku, ice cream? The girl nods. Izuku, mint chocolate chip? Uraka, yes, whichever you prefer. Izuku, great, let's go there then happy. Our protagonist was never going to turn down an ice cream, much less if it was free. Both teenagers started walking not far and entered an ice cream shop that was near the Hero Academy. They entered and went to the cashier to place their order. Izuku, hey, can I have a mint chocolate chip ice cream and? Uraka, what are you ordering? Uraka, a glass of water. Izuku, and a glass of water. A glass of water? The boy looked at the girl strangely, who just nodded at the question. The green-haired boy didn't understand why she didn't order ice cream, but it wasn't his problem either, so he let it go. They both sat at the table and in a matter of seconds they served him the order. The protagonist tried the ice cream and it was delicious, but when he turned to look at the girl, you could see on his face that he wanted some too. Izuku, do you want to share it? Uraka, no, I bought it for you to apologize. Izuku, are you sure? Uraka, of course. The girl's stomach growled, both teenagers fell silent. The girl felt embarrassed. Izuku, I insist, let's share the ice cream. Food tastes better in company, don't you think? Uraka, okay. The protagonist asked a waitress for another spoon and in a matter of seconds the service was already on the table. They both began to eat ice cream while chatting. Izuku, if you were hungry, why didn't you order ice cream too? At the question, the girl was a little embarrassed. Uraka, I only had enough for one. The boy was surprised by the comment, now he felt as if he had blackmailed her into eating ice cream, as if he were a villain to do that. XD. Izuku, and why did you invite me to ice cream if you had money for one? Uraka, to apologize to you when we first met, I couldn't do enough for you. Izuku, it wasn't necessary, as I told you at the beginning, it was a thing of the past now. Uraka, yes, I understand but even if I don't have money, I'm going to apologize properly, it's a value my mother taught me. The boy was a little surprised, it had been a while since he had thought about his mother and the girl made him remember her. Izuku, Mom. The boy said it softly, but the girl heard it and remembered that Bakugo had told Izuku that he left his house or something like that. Uraka, and your mother? The boy was silent for a moment, as if he was lost in thought. After a while he looked at the girl and answered. Izuku, we don't talk anymore. The brunette was surprised by the boy's comment, after all she and he were the same age. Izuku, I stopped living with her a long time ago. Uraka, I'm sorry. I guess I shouldn't have asked. Izuku, calm down, nothing's wrong smiling. The boy stands up and leaves the ice cream money on the table. Izuku, it's getting really late, I think I have to go. Uraka, oh. Okay. The girl was a little discouraged because she thought it was because of the question he asked her, and then she noticed that she had left the money on the table. Uraka, hey, you don't have to pay for the ice cream, I invited you in the first place. Izuku, a gentleman doesn't let a lady pay, see you later Uraka. The boy started to walk towards the door, but was stopped by the girl who grabbed his wrist. Uraka, wait a minute. Izuku, yes. The girl remained silent, as if she had done it without thinking. Izuku, everything okay? Uraka, it's just that. The boy had understood everything. He had been presented with a golden opportunity and he was no fool. He had been presented with the opportunity to get closer to Bakugo's circle of friends, and he was going to take the opportunity to torment him for a while. Izuku, we better exchange numbers, Uraka. The girl was surprised, but quickly nodded, so the green-haired man and the girl began to exchange numbers. Uraka, I just wanted to make sure you got home safely. Izuku, yeah sure, laughing lightly, see you Uraka, take care. Uraka, you too, take care of yourself Midoriya. The boy left the ice cream shop and headed back to the bar. He took a couple of trains until he arrived and entered silently. He noticed that there was no one there, so he went to his room and looked for a moment at a photo he had in a frame. He hadn't seen it for a year, but he knew that if he did he wouldn't be able to continue, so he turned the frame over and began to silently train his gift. Days passed, weeks passed, and finally the day of the sports festival had arrived. The green-haired boy was standing next to Nahir in the stands waiting for the festival to start. The protagonist was excited because it was going to be the first time he was going to see him in the front row. Nahir, I still don't believe you convinced me to watch the first and second year festival. Izuku, hey, but the first year is the most popular. Nahir, yes, but we'll be here for hours. Although it's not so bad now that I think about it. Izuku, of course, what better than this? The protagonist began to show the large stadium, but apparently he did not understand what the girl was referring to. They had already made the preparations and the first test had begun. Izuku, look. It's already started. Excited. The girl still thought the boy's reaction to her gifts was cute, and she thought it was even cuter when he took out his notebook and started writing and mumbling, a total geek. Nahir, the one with red and white hair is going to win it seems. Izuku, yes, he is Endeavor's son, so it's possible. Before they could continue speaking, a yellow flash of light flashed across the stadium and reached the finish line. The entire stadium fell silent as they processed what had happened and began to celebrate euphorically as they watched the winner on the screen. Present Mike, Melissa Shield came in first place. A round of applause for the support class student. Izuku, support class? Did you see that Nahir? Nahir, I couldn't see anything. Izuku, me neither. I didn't expect that. Nahir, this is the first time someone who isn't from the hero class has won a trial. The green-haired boy began to write down Melissa Shield's name on a separate sheet of paper. Although it is not necessary for him to write it down, he thinks that his gift could be useful to his master. Izuku, can you imagine if I win? Nahir, I think he wins. Izuku, let's make a bet then. Nahir, wow, I'm going to Shield. Izuku, huh? I was going to bet on her. Nahir, too late, smiling. Izuku, then I'm going for Todoroki, I have faith. Nahir, and what should the loser do? The green-haired man had made a bet just for the sake of it, so he hadn't thought about what to do. A habit that stuck with him in fights in the ring, betting without thinking. Izuku, I don't know. Nahir, what do you think about the loser having to do everything the winner says for a day? Izuku, hey. Okay, but don't complain if you lose. Nahir, I don't do that. Izuku, yes, and I have a gift. The boy started laughing and the girl pouted. After a while the second test had started and the boy continued with his research while chatting with the blue-haired girl. After it ended, they gave a break where the students went to eat, so both teenagers took the opportunity to be the same and went out to eat together. When they came back from eating, they noticed that the first-year girls were wearing cheerleader clothes while they were a little in shock. Izuku, hey, Uraka. The brunette girl heard the boy's voice so she went there while covering herself with her hands. Uraka, hello Midoriya. How nice. To see you. The girl was quite embarrassed and did not try to look at him, but she felt as if something had been thrown at her head. When she grabbed it, she realized that it was a sweatshirt. Izuku, use it if you want, I think you need it more than me. While this was happening, the brunette's friends approached where the boy was. Mina, so he's the guy you talk about all the time. Uraka, I only talked about him once. Don't exaggerate. Hagakure, you don't even believe that yourself. The brown-haired girl was a little embarrassed by her friend's comments, but she quickly put on the garment her friend gave her. When she put on the sweatshirt, she noticed that it had his cologne on it. It was quite nice. While she felt warm with the boy's sweatshirt, her friends and the protagonist had introduced themselves. Izuku, nice to meet you girls, I hope you get to the top of the festival trying to cheer you up. Mina, thanks Midoriya. The girls say goodbye to the boy, but the brunette had not left with him yet. Uraka, thanks for the sweatshirt. Midoriya. Izuku, you're welcome Uraka. The brunette hadn't paid attention before because she was embarrassed, but she could clearly see that the girl next to the green-haired boy was the same girl who had scolded Bakugo harshly. The girl quickly said goodbye and went back to her friends. The green-haired boy turned to look at Nehire and noticed that she didn't have a face full of friends. Izuku, are you okay? Is something wrong? Nehire, no. Nothing. Of course something was wrong with the girl. The boy had a friendly relationship with the girl who was there when that Kachan guy was bothering Izuku. And on top of that, he lends her his sweatshirt. Plus, to top it off, it seemed like he was quite popular with the girls. The boy noticed the girl's annoyance, so he tried to joke with her, but nothing happened. The games between the break had started and Izuku and Nehire remained silent while they watched the games. Izuku didn't know why the girl was acting like that, but he had to fix it if he wanted to know more about UA unless he takes a risk and goes all out for Uraka. Izuku, why is she upset? Am I overdoing it with the acting? The boy began to think of a reason why the girl was upset, and at an unexpected moment he feels someone poke his cheek with a finger. When he turns around, he realizes it was Nehire. Nehire, you. Who? You. The girl tried to say something, but she couldn't. Izuku, Nehire, before you say anything, I wanted to apologize to you. In case I said something that upset you. Nehire, huh? Don't worry about it, you didn't do anything. While scratching her head, I apologize for acting like that embarrassed. Izuku, then that's good, I thought you were mad at me. Nehire, no, not at all. The girl saw the state and began to see how the first-year girls were playing happily. Nehire, don't you want to see the festival from a better view? The green-haired boy was confused by the question. Izuku, we are already in the best view, we are in the front row. Nehire, there is a better one. Izuku, then what are we waiting for? Let's go quickly. The boy's eyes were filled with stars from how excited he was. They both got up and started to leave the stands as they walked around the stadium. The protagonist realized that they were moving away from the stands, which made him feel a little strange, but after a few minutes they had arrived. Izuku, Nehire, this is. Nehire, the third grade stands, you can see the festival much better here, don't you think? Izuku, yeah, but I shouldn't be here. What if they take me to jail for coming here? The girl laughed at the boy's question. Nehire, probably, but as long as they don't see you, you'll be fine. At the girl's comment, the protagonist was a little scared, since they could investigate him and discover his affiliation with the League of Villains in some way. The blue-haired girl laughed again at her friend's reaction. Nehire, I was joking, I invited you here so it'll be fine. Let's go in before it starts. The girl takes him by the wrist and drags him inside. Upon entering, she sees that there were few third-year students, but those who were there looked at the teenager strangely. Student 3, and who is this random guy? What is he doing here? Student 1, people from outside the third-year class are not allowed in here, you should go to the regular stands. Nehire, don't worry, I invited him, he's my guest. The girl smiled as she dragged the boy to sit on the bleachers. Student 2, then that's okay. Given the blue-haired girl's response, no one had a problem with the boy being here, in fact, they were friendly towards him. Izuku, you were right Nehire, it looks much better from here. The protagonist was excited and smiled happily. Nehire, I'm glad you like it. They were both smiling as they watched the fight begin. A third-year student approached them. Student 4, be careful, Hato. If you're careless for a moment, your little friend could be stolen from you. The student began pointing at the blue-haired girl's classmates who were looking at the boy. Clearly the boy said it jokingly, but the girl began to smile. Nehire, let them try it. The boy was surprised and didn't say anything else and went back to his seat. The green-haired boy turned to look at the girl. Izuku, did you say something Nehire? I didn't hear you. The girl smiled. Nay higher, no, not at all, who do you think will win this fight? Izuku, of course Shield. At the boy's comment, the blue-haired girl began to smile at the bet they made. Nay higher, I hope you don't go back on the bet. Izuku, never. And don't claim victory because the fight and the tournament aren't over yet. When I win I'm going to. Nay higher, what are you going to do? What would you ask me to do? The boy blushed a little at the girl's questions and turned away. Izuku, I won't tell you. The boy was embarrassed while the girl was smiling at the boy's attitude. The girl started leaning on top of him, which made the boy nervous. Nay higher, you really don't want to tell me? The boy was embarrassed and now nervous about the attitude the girl was having. He doesn't remember having this kind of trust with her. As the blue-haired girl leaned on top of her friend, she turned to look at her classmates who had been looking at her friend and smiled at them. Izuku, I was going to ask you to give me a ride through the air. The girl starts to smile when she hears that. Nay higher, no bet is needed for me to do it. The girl separates herself from the boy and sees how nervous he is, so a question crosses her mind. Nay higher, weren't you popular with girls at school? The green-haired boy shook his head. Izuku, I was very embarrassed. And since they bothered me at school, no one approached me. The last comment surprised the girl, she didn't know that he was being bullied at school. The protagonist calms down and becomes a little serious, it seems that he exaggerated a little with his acting. Nay higher, I'm sorry, Izuku, don't worry about it, it's a thing of the past. The green-haired boy began to look at a blonde-haired boy who was in the arena of the stadium. While the girl tried to put together the puzzle she had in her mind, a question escaped her. Nay higher, am I your first friend? A question that took the protagonist by complete surprise. He opened his eyes as he turned to look at Nay higher. He was no longer acting. The question the girl asked him began to eat away at his head as he thought for a second if they were really friends or if he was just using her. Izuku, I. The protagonist began to think about the answer, he didn't know what to say. The boy lets out a heavy sigh and says to himself. Izuku, what am I doing? Of course I know the answer. She's not my friend at all. The boy starts to fake a smile with his eyes closed while the girl looks at him waiting for his answer. Izuku, yes, in fact you are my first friend. Now the blue-haired girl felt stupid for having gotten mad at the boy before. She was his first friend and she got mad at him for trying to make more friends. Izuku, it feels a little weird to say that scratching the back of his neck. Nay higher, don't worry, you are free to say whatever you want. The girl looked him in the eyes while transmitting warmth to him, a new feeling that the protagonist felt, he had only felt that feeling with his mother. The protagonist did not know what to say, he was speechless, so he returned one of the questions to the girl. Izuku, and you were popular with the boys in your class? The girl thought for a few seconds. Nay higher, well, at school, the usual, one or another declaration, but I got along better with the girls and well, at the UA. The first years, everyone didn't like me and last year I started to get along better with my classmates. The comment surprised the boy, at first glance he didn't feel like anyone would dislike him. Izuku, may I ask why? The girl remained a little thoughtful. Nay higher, let's leave it for the next time we meet. The girl smiled as she looked at the stadium where the fights were apparently about to begin. The boy also looked away and began to look at the stadium as well. Izuku, okay. Next time we see each other you have to tell me. Hearing that made the girl happy, for some reason they already agreed to meet again after this. A few minutes later the first-year battles began. While the teenagers watched the battles, they began to chat about trivial things. After an hour the battles had finally ended and for the first time someone from the support class won. The green-haired boy had lost the bet, but he was happy. Seeing Bakugo lose made him happy and even more so when he came in second place. Izuku, fuck you. Smiling. Nay higher, did you say something? Izuku, no, nothing. The green-haired boy looked away for a moment but when he looked at his friend again, he noticed that she began to smile in a peculiar way. Izuku, what's wrong? Nay higher, you lost. The girl began to smile as the girl had already understood the reason, so she lowered her head accepting defeat. She had already lost when Todoroki lost. Izuku, what? Are you going to make me do? Nay higher, it's a secret smiling. Izuku, huh? But I told you what I was going to do. Nay higher, you'll know when the day comes, but today won't be the day. The boy just let out a sigh as he lay down on the seat in the stands. Now both teenagers had to wait until the third-year tournament, so they continued to stay there. They began to chat about trivial things until the second-year sports festival began, which is when Izuku began to write down the students' gifts. Time continued to pass, and each time the third-year stands began to fill up, since the second-year tournament was coming to an end. There the green-haired boy met the girl's friends. He met a blonde, a black-haired boy, and the girl's best friend, Yuyo. After a while all the third years left the stands and went to participate in their festival. The boy again took advantage of writing down the gifts of the third-year students, although he already had them, but he was going to improve his scores. Although that did not last long since Nehire had lost in the first test, so he quickly returned to the stands. Izuku, you did well, so no. Nehire, don't worry, really. Laughing lightly, I don't care about winning the festival, since the further you advance, the more you expose your gift to people and villains. The last comment stunned the boy, but he laughed nervously as he held his journal with his notes. Izuku, you're right. You're just exposing yourself to others. The girl, although she didn't want to admit it, was still a little sad. She would have loved to show her power to the boy, but she didn't want to expose herself to the villains. Nehire, who do you think will win? The green-haired boy thought for a moment, but his thoughts stopped when he noticed that the girl was a little down. Apparently the defeat affected her a little. Izuku, I don't know. It could be anyone. Nehire, yes. You're right. They both remained silent for a few moments until the boy began to stretch and yawn a little. Izuku, my legs fell asleep. Shall we go? The girl was surprised by the boy's question. Nehire, don't you want to see the whole festival? Izuku, no, that's a lot for today. Don't you think? The girl smiled a little and they both left the stands. A few minutes later they were already outside and began to walk a little. It was already getting late. Izuku, amazing. I still can't believe I was able to see the festival from the third-year stands. Nehire, I'm glad you liked it. Izuku, of course, I almost always watched the festival on TV. It was the first time I saw it in the stadium in the front row and in exclusive stands. Thank you very much Nehire for the invitation. Nehire, you're welcome. The girl was pleased to see the boy so happy and excited. Izuku, although it's a shame that we left so late looking at the sky that was setting, as soon as I arrive I'll have to cook. Nehire, if you want. You can have dinner with me, I mean with my family. The boy was surprised by the girl's proposal. Izuku, I don't want to be a bother. Nehire, you won't be a bother, my parents would like you and you'll save cooking today. The boy thought for a moment. Izuku, I appreciate the invitation Nehire, but I can't, I have too many things to do. But I'm sure I can next time. Nehire, okay. The girl seemed a little discouraged by the boy's answer, but she understood, it can't be easy to live alone. Time had passed and Izuku was already back in the villain's lair, specifically in front of his teacher. Izuku, here are the gifts of the festival. The boy passes the notebook to the villain and he begins to look through it. Good job, kid. He started to look through it quickly and noticed that there were students who were not from the hero class. Why are there people who are not the hero class? Izuku, they would be useful to you. One was brainwashed. There was also a girl who had a gift similar to All Might's. The villain was surprised by the boy's statement. What do you mean? Quickly flipping through until reaching a page. Melissa Shield? Izuku, yes, herself. The villain started to smile. Good job Izuku, you definitely did a good job this time. Izuku, thank you. Now you have to prepare yourself, because Tomura wants to invite the hero killer to the league and he will need your help. Hearing that, Izuku starts to smile. Izuku, of course I will do my best. The boy started to turn around to leave. Wait. The boy turned around again. Your reward. The villain puts his hand on her hair as he began to smile. Either he created a splendid pawn or just another Nomu from the bunch. The entire League of Villains was at the bar with another completely unknown man. Kurogiri was behind the bar while Shigaraki was sitting on a chair. Izuku was standing to the side while staring at the man in front of him. A grown man in rags and carrying a sword. Stain, so you were the ones who attacked the UA. Izuku, so he's the hero killer. I think this is going to go wrong. The man looked at each member from head to toe. Stain, and you want me to join your group? Shigaraki, yes, you are a very experienced villain, it would be good to have you around. Stain, and to what end? What is your goal? Shigaraki, kill All Might, for starters. Destroy the things I don't like, in other words. The man becomes serious at the boy's words. It seemed as if a child had been given a lot of power. Izuku was also surprised by those words. Stain, I was stupid to take the bait. You're the kind of person I hate the most. The League of Villains were shocked by the hero killer's words. Stain, I will not join a child's game. What is the point of killing without conviction? The man gets into a combat pose, ready to have a fight with the guys in front of him. Izuku, wait a minute, what my partner is trying to say is to destroy this society, to make it change. I think you might have misunderstood him. Stain, you're wrong. I know that kind of people, and all I see in front of me is someone with a destructive instinct. The man takes out his blade and launches himself at Shigaraki. He was very calm, and in the blink of an eye a green flash moved like lightning, attacking Stain. The man managed to dodge and launches himself backwards. When he turns his gaze, he can see Izuku, who had crashed into the wall. Stain, and a brat who doesn't know how to control his gift. The hero killer attacks Shigaraki and Kurogiri. Within seconds the portal guy had a cut on his shoulder while Stain was on top of Shigaraki, burying his knives in his shoulders. Neither of them could move. Stain, and so they wanted me to join their group. To achieve something, you need conviction. Those who don't have it are eliminated. It's natural. That's why we ended up like this. Shigaraki, Kurogiri, take this guy out. Kurogiri, I can't move. Stain, the word hero has lost its meaning. This society of false heroes and criminals who look like brats must be purged. The man was about to cut Shigaraki, but in a matter of seconds, he had received a kick that sent him against the wall. At Shigaraki's side was Izuku, who was extending his hand while rays were coming out of his body. Izuku, come on, get up. Don't use all your fingers. The villain waved off the gesture and stood up on his own. Shigaraki, if I had to say something, I just want to tear apart this society that praises scum like All Might. Now that we're like this, are you going to take responsibility for attacking us? The hero killer stands up and looks seriously at both guys. Stain, I see. Our goals are opposite. However, we do agree on one thing, and that is to destroy the current situation. Both villains stared at each other. Stain, I was just testing you. They say people show their true nature in the face of danger. Izuku. Shigaraki, I don't care, go away. Die. Wasn't I one of the people you hate the most? Stain, first we have to see what you're trying to do, Flourish, then I'll see if I can eliminate you. Izuku. Shigaraki, are you going to eliminate me? I don't want such a crazy guy on my side. Kurogiri, wait a minute, he could be a strong ally. Shigaraki, okay, then yes. Stain, matter settled, take me back to Hasu. I have unfinished business still. The green-haired boy was silent, waiting for the moment to intervene if necessary, but everything that was happening right now seemed surreal to him. It wasn't clear what was going to happen, but it was sure to be nothing good, and those words Tomura was saying were making him doubt whether he really got into what he believed in. They were not at all what the master promised. After a while, the same people who were in the bar were passing through a portal in the roof of a building in the city. Shigaraki, what are you doing here? Stain, correct this city. There are too many money worshippers calling themselves heroes, and I must eliminate them. Until this world realizes its mistake, I will continue to appear. The guy jumps off the roof while being watched from afar by the League of Villains. The green-haired boy was thinking about the words of the hero killer. Apparently working with him didn't sound so bad either. He was liking that ideology. Shigaraki, we don't agree on anything. And it irritates me. Kurogiri brings the nomus. Kurogiri, of course. Izuku, huh? Shigaraki, you think he'll just leave like that after stabbing me? I'm not even halfway working with him. If you want to destroy something, just destroy it. 3 kinds of monsters began to emerge from a portal. Izuku was surprised to see them. It was the first time he had seen them, but there was something that was making him very uneasy, and it was the Nomu that had wings. For some strange reason he had the feeling that he knew him from somewhere, but he didn't know where from. Izuku, but what? Kurogiri, it's true that it's the first time you see them. You'll get used to it. The nomus began to spread throughout the city while the 3 subjects from above were watching everything. Izuku, are we really going to betray Stain? It hasn't even been 5 minutes since he joined. Shigaraki, we never betrayed him, he was never one of us to begin with. Izuku, yes. The boy couldn't stop looking at the winged Nomu. It seemed very familiar to him, but he didn't know where it came from. The protagonist could only see the chaos that the Nomus were causing. Suddenly, a loud explosion could be heard and flames began to be seen in a store. It had already begun to destroy the city while the League of Villains watched it from above. Shigaraki, if you want to do something, do it big. Why change something when you can start from scratch? Izuku, does the master really trust this guy that much? Kurogiri, are we not going to participate in the attack? Shigaraki, of course not, that's why I brought the Nomus. Plus I'm hurt. The three villains began to see the destruction that the Nomus were generating. They were there for a long time, while the boy was reflecting if this was what he wanted. After a while, the destruction stopped when Stain was cornered and killed the flying Nomu, rescuing the girl who won the sports festival. Tomura was quite upset and irritated. It seemed as if he was throwing a childish tantrum. Izuku couldn't believe it. Did the master put his trust in someone like him? Someone like Shigaraki? The League of Villains began to retreat, returning to the bar. A few days passed and all that was talked about was the hero killer, something that annoyed Shigaraki to no end. That caused Hiron to bring with him some allies that would be good for the organization. One of them was a blonde girl in a schoolgirl uniform and a guy with black hair covered in scars. Shigaraki, Kurogiri, get rid of them. Everything I hate came at the same time. Kurogiri, wait a minute, if they came here at least listen to them. If Hiron brought them, it must be because they are valuable goods. Hiron, I don't care what you do with them, but I'll still get my commission for this. First of all, let me introduce you. The pretty student, suspected of several deaths by bleeding. Toga, I'm Toga. Himiko Toga. It's hard to live. I want a world where it's easier to live. I want to be like Mr. Stain. Let me join the League of Villains, Tomura. Come on, say yes. The girl was quite excited. Izuku, there are more and more of us. I hope they are not like Shigaraki. Shigaraki, is she crazy? Hiron, at least it will be useful. Now with the other guy, he hasn't committed any major crimes, but he sticks to the ideology of the hero killer. I'm not convinced, does this organization really have a cause? Don't tell me they'll let this crazy woman in. The man turned his gaze to look at Toga, who was looking at him excitedly. Izuku, you haven't even done anything like she has done. First of all, introduce yourself, say your name. Dabi, my name is Dabi now. Izuku. Shigaraki, the real one, I don't care about your nickname. Dabi, you'll know when the time comes, whatever, I will fulfill the hero killer's will. Shigaraki, and what about me? Don't tell me what I didn't ask you. It seems there's a lot of charm with Stain around here, I don't like it at all. Tomura starts to get upset and begins to emanate an aura of danger, which alerts the two boys that Hiron brought. Shigaraki, they're up to no good. Tomura raised his hands and started running towards them to attack. Dabi raised his hand to use his quirk and Toga started to take out her blades to attack. In a matter of milliseconds, Izuku activated his quirk and in a moment he was on top of Toga while he had her neutralized on the ground. Kurogiri had used his quirk to prevent Tomura and Dabi from fighting. Kurogiri, wait a moment. Calm down Shigaraki. If you want to achieve what you want, we need allies. Even though it's strange, this is an opportunity we can't let pass. The villain began to stretch his neck at the blue-haired boy. Kurogiri, you have to use them to get what you want. Shigaraki, shut up, do whatever you want. The guy breaks free and starts walking towards the exit while leaving irritated. Kurogiri, he's just a little irritated because things aren't going his way. Dabi, it makes me sick. Toga, hey. Can you let me go? The green-haired man who was looking at the door turns to look at the girl below him, but in a matter of seconds he sees a knife approaching her face, so he quickly let go of it and walked away. Toga, why did you walk away? That's not funny. Izuku. Kurogiri, well, it will be a pleasure to collaborate with you. The green-haired boy was surprised by the villain's words, they were really going to collaborate with this kind of people. Kurogiri, Izuku, show them where they can stay. Izuku, this. Okay. The protagonist turned to look at the villains. The boy with scars was looking him up and down, as was the girl who tried to kill him a while ago. Izuku, come on. Follow me. The green-haired boy took them to a hallway where there were a couple of rooms. First he showed the room to the black-haired boy who entered silently and then to the girl. The boy was about to leave, but the girl stopped him. Toga, you. What do you do here for fun? Izuku, huh? The green-haired boy was incredulous, a while ago he tried to kill him. Izuku, well. Training? Toga, huh? How boring. Let's do something more fun. Izuku, what do you mean? The girl takes him by the arm, which caught the green-haired boy off guard, and he quickly walks away backwards, hitting the wall. The boy was embarrassed. Izuku, what are you doing all of a sudden? Toga, huh? If I just touched your arm, I just wanted to get you to come into play. Izuku, what could we play in your room? Toga, cards. The girl took out a deck of cards and showed it to the boy. The green-haired boy relaxed a little more when he saw that. Izuku, so that was it. Okay, let's play for a while. Toga, huh? What did you think I meant? Izuku, nothing. After the new integration of the villains to the league, the green-haired boy went to talk to his teacher after several days. He had to resolve a doubt that he still had in his head. Izuku, master. Were the Nomus people before? A foe, of course, otherwise where would they come from? Izuku, so. The Nomu that Stain killed. Was it me? A foe, yes. The man began to smile. A foe, of course you know him. Did you like my gift? He's one of those brats who used to bother you. At the villain's words, the green-haired boy was in shock. He didn't know how to react, he had never been in this situation. Izuku, a foe, what? Did you not like my gift? The guy's expression began to change and he started to look more irritated. Izuku, no, of course I liked it. A foe, good to hear it. The protagonist began to smile on the outside, but on the inside he had a strange feeling. He didn't know how to feel about that. One thing was Bakugo, but another was a boy he hadn't seen for 10 years, although there was no turning back from what started.